For updates on sports stories across the globe, Aaron Akewejola joins us. Bonjour, Aaron.
Yeah, bonjour.
It's Olympic season.
Yeah, good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you.
You're speaking French.
Yes, I am speaking French.
Ahead of your Paris Olympics.
Yeah, we'll be heading there later on today to see if we can catch up with the opening ceremony later on this evening. And a historic opening ceremony awaits us. And we'll be talking about that in details in a moment. But looking at it, let's start it off from the fact that a lot is expected today as the flames will be going up. And let's start it off. This is how the CM River and that particular opening ceremony will go. Of course, it will go through several places, and not forgetting, of course, the Louvre Museum is going to pass through the Louvre Museum at some point, and just with fans actually adorning both sides of the CN River, and also not forgetting the Museum d'Orsay, all right, another iconic venue that will actually witness the opening ceremony, and also the National Assembly there in Paris would also be one of those places. So people will be adorned left and right of it, over 300,000. Then I'm not forgetting the Alexander III point, and also, of course, it will be, then they will pass through the Grand Palace before crescendoing at the most iconic place in France, talking about the Eiffel Tower. So let's see how things actually play out there. But talking about the opening ceremony, let's cast our mind back to how things have actually played out in time past. We've had some great opening ceremony. Looking back, 5 Olympics, Tokyo was fantastic, although it was during the COVID era. And not forgetting Rio 2016 with the Brazilian bombshell actually strutting her stuff there, Giselle Bonchen, and quite iconic, London 2012, one of my, one because Sir Paul McCartney, yeah, 007, and Mr. Bean and everyone. It was quite the Olympic opening ceremony, one to actually revel. And in 2008, Beijing, 2008 drummers actually came out to actually drum the Olympics into life, and quite iconic. So we're looking forward to what Paris holds for us today. But in the meantime, speaking about what Paris holds for us today, this is not the first time. This is not their first rodeo. As a matter of fact, in 1924, Paris held the Olympics, and this is how it looked like. So you can actually see the gulf of difference between then and now. You can see the evolution. You can see the metamorphosis. You can see how times have changed, how things have changed, how the technicolor of the media actually has come to life. So let's see what actually happens. This will be, we're hoping to be a breath of fresh air. But talking about the young and the old, this is some of the youngest athletes from China, from Thailand, will be gracing the Olympics 11, 12, and from Finland, Kahelia Sivio, who is 13 years of age. For the oldest, from Switzerland, Pio Schweizer, and he's 61, one of the oldest. And from Sweden, Rolf Goran Bengtsson, who is 62. And the oldest is a Spaniard, Juan Antonio Jimenez Cobo, from Spain in equestrian. So we're going to be having the battle of the ages, so to speak. And I must say this thing, this is the most equitable Olympics there is out there right now. If you can actually look from 1928, where there were just 9.6% women at the Olympics, right now, 50% of the women attending, 50% of the athletes attending the Olympics are women. 50% are men. Equity at the highest, if you would ask me. And finally, not the greatest of outing, the Super Falcons showed great spirit. We expected quite a lot. They were profligate in front of goal, and ultimately, Mata and the gang were able. Nunes scoring the goal. Mata scored a goal that was disallowed, but Nunes scoring the ultimate goal that sunk the Super Falcons. But they showed promise, and we are hoping that they can take all they've learned, because they showed quite a lot of respect to their opponents. And a lot of people questioned that because they are Brazil, you shouldn't pay them any mind. But ultimately that wasn't the case, and they were made to pay for it. But they showed quite a lot of promise. We hope they do better when they go against Spain. Now remember, Spain are the world champions in football.
I mean, it's going to be tough. I thought they showed them too much respect. I thought we should have beaten Brazil, actually.
We should have beaten Brazil. The opening exchanges were fire for fire.
But after that, And what hurt me the most was the goal came in after the first goal was disallowed.
Yes.
And they just fluffed on their lines. Very sad. But let me celebrate the Olympics this morning. The game, since it came back into being after Baron Père de Coubertin, started the whole gamut of the modern Olympics again, has continued to grow, and it's a gift that keeps on giving.
True.
He's had his political slants up and down. We can't forget the Munich Olympics, that was turned into a political affair and the killing of some athlete. But it's also been a role of defiance, like we saw in Mexico 68, this sign, and like we also did see that famous Jesse Owens looking Hitler in the face and saying black people too can do it, despite all what Hitler was saying then and at the cusp of war.
True.
You were talking about the last time, 1924. Yes, the cinematography will not be this great because it was just in 1895 that the Lumiere brothers first showed their official film, the cinematography film, in a place called La Ciotat in France. So it was just 29 years post-invention of cinematography that you had France host the Olympics in 1924. But things have since evolved, since the proliferation of HD cameras and all of that. And I'm happy that the torch will go around France. There's something I love so much about the beauty and the romance of France and the River Seine, because the Seine cuts across many arrondissements, from Neuilly-sur-Seine to Ivry-sur-Seine to other parts across France.
All right.
Vive la France, like they say, vive la liberté. Some people say, see Paris and die. Let's welcome the interesting Olympics ever. Liberté, égalité, fraternité.
Because you make it so exciting to look forward to, and it should be, because tonight's opening ceremony is said to be one like none other. Never had before. It's going to be mainly on the sea, and a lot of activities in terms of details have been shrouded in secrecy. In fact, they said they've not been able to have a dry run as to what would actually happen because, of course, of the uniqueness.
But one thing we know, let me just put it in.
Yeah, tell us.
Celine Dion will be performing today.
Is it confirmed now?
Yes.
Is it confirmed? Because I was going to say that there are speculations that Celine Dion and Lady Gaga are going to be performing tonight.
And they're saying she's going to be pocketing $2 million for a 5-minute performance. One song.
Especially based on what she's been through in recent times.
And she's also a French, so you should put her into the mix.
So they're bringing her out, and all the stuff. So it makes it even more of an anticipation because people don't know what to expect. It's going to be on water. I feel sorry for anyone who is a bit, water afraid, seasick, or I don't want it's not a sea, but river sick. It's lovely, but when you're having to perform on the boat whilst it's moving, I don't know how lovely it would be for those who are performing, especially for those who are coming from outside of Paris. But it promises to be excellent. We're going to be looking at 300,000 people around the riverbank. But of course, there are concerns around security, which we talked about here. And only early hours of this morning, the French train operators have said that there was an attack on the rail line in France, and because of how closely time to the Olympics, they're saying, I hope there's no correlation, but there was an arson attack, 3 rail lines were disrupted, and they're trying to see how they can work. They've asked people to try as much as possible to avoid that. So just to see that there's a lot of excitement, but there's also concern around security, especially since it won't be in a traditional stadium, but open air. But hopeful that it will be excellent, and Team Nigeria will do their best and shine bright.
We're hoping so.
Okay, games wide open. That's a motto of this year's Olympics. And France is hosting the Olympics 100 years after. And appropriately, significantly, it looks like they've chosen a soft hat taken from the French Revolution, symbolizing freedom, as a mascot for this occasion. Thomas Joly tells us that they are going to showcase the beauty, the history, the diversity, the culture of Paris and France. And that's why they've chosen the River Seine, 6 kilometers long. That's where the event will take place. There will be 100 boats. That's also very instructive. 100 boats after 100 years, carrying about 300,000 athletes from all over the world. And the opening ceremony, which will take place at 19:30 Central Eastern Time, 18:30 British Standard Time, today in the evening. The weather is, we're told will be very good, very bright.
Yeah, it's very clement in France.
So the ceremony will go along those 6 kilometers along River Seine. Now, the River Seine, along those 6 kilometers, River Seine is the river that encircles Paris.
Yes.
So it gives people a view of the city. It's been barricaded, but after the nearly 4 hours event, the barricades will be returned. This is how the event will be. Greece is going to lead, will be the first country to be called. And in the Greece flag bearers team will be Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has Nigerian blood. And then the second group that will be called will be the refugee Olympic team. And then, of course, you will have other countries following. France will come last. Russia and Belarus will not be part of the process. But they have individual players, but they will not be allowed to be part of it. So they're promising us a colorful event that is already costing France 9 billion euros. But there are other issues. Security, as Ayo has mentioned. The second issue is water, particularly River Seine, which is going to be used for part of the triathlon. And the Paris mayor, Hidalgo, swam in that river, I think on June 27, to show that it is safe. But even now, till now, they're saying there is a high presence of E. coli, but that they will keep monitoring the river to see that it's safe. The British team is also complaining. That's another concern about food. They say at the athletes camp, the main restaurant can only accommodate 3,300 persons, whereas 40,000 meals will have to be prepared daily, which is why Team Britain is even thinking of engaging their own chef to provide food for Great Britain. I hope Great Britain is not going there to eat delicious food.
No, they are looking after their athletes. Meals are very, very important.
They will win medals. One other detail about this Olympics is that it already started rugby, football. You've talked about the Super Falcons. Well, Spain, France, and other countries, Brazil, they've won their opening games. But the Super Falcons, they need to do better against Spain.
Yes, they do.
Our problem is the attack. And Rashida Ajibade did very well yesterday.
No, she was a shining light. She was the outlier amongst a very average or subpar team yesterday. And we are hoping that she can rally the team around. There's still big question marks about our star girl, talking about Aziza Doshola. She actually was bent for most of the game. So everyone seems to be asking, what's really going on here?
Okay.
Well, more questions than answers.
Okay.